how to get a one night stand, or be more precise, because obviously we're working on the girl wanting to meet you more times than just once. More precisely, how to get a same night lay, if you will. I would like to describe this as the Premier League of a natural game, because most of your lays will probably come from day twos and dates, or whatever, or day threes, and that's totally cool. That's totally cool. However, it is obviously a magical, cool experience. It's a great fucking adventure every time you put yourself out there and go out to a club or a bar or whatever it is. It is a great adventure, and it's definitely something you want to be super fucking good at. Why not? The basic principles are the same anywhere, so it's the best way to practice if you go out at night. Now, after watching this video, you'll know precisely the thought patterns that you want to have behind a same night lay. The mindset that you can invoke in the girl, the social dynamics behind that, how to deal with all that, how to walk out as a winner, and if you don't walk out as a winner, how to learn. So let's crack right into it. This is going to be a big part of this natural law. I hope so far if you've taken massive fucking action. I hope you're still rewiring your brain every day. We're on the best way to becoming irresistible, and this will be a huge step towards that. Let's talk about the warm-up here, and this is so key. I want to mention that first and foremost in front of every other thing, because I see so many guys, they exit their house, they go on the streets, they see a lot of people already, but they're like, quiet, it's not time to do the game yet. Once I'm in the club, right, and then you're in the club and like, yeah, I'm gonna get a water first. I get the water. Now it's time to approach. Nah, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'm just gonna check out my Facebook real quick. Now, the music, yeah. And then you just like procrastinate. The longer you try to avoid approaching, the more difficult it will get. It will shove you in your head. You set the bar for your success a lot higher, yada. So the warm-up, number one, it begins in front of your fucking house. If you have roommates, it begins in front of your room, okay? Chat with people. Get rid of that barrier of me not talking to people, okay? Penetrate that with your words. Talk to people. If you don't have roommates, go outside in the street. If you're using public transport on this Friday night, Saturday night, ask people where they're going to party tonight. It's as easy. Hey guys, let's see you going to party tonight? Cool. Where's it good tonight? Just wondering. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, me and my friends are going to meet up later. Maybe see you there. Right? Like, ideally, the greatest nights, they're already so much fun just on the way to the club. Even if it's just me, I force myself to approach there. You know how easy it's going to be to approach in a loud, chaotic nightclub when you're able to approach in a tram where there's other people, or in a metro, or on the street? Yes, hella fucking easy. Next step, I shake the bouncer's hand. I say hi to the bouncer. I chat with the girl at the coat check. I chat with the girl that gives me the stamps. Anything. And this is so key too. We'll talk more about this in terms of letting the venue work for you. But it's so key, even when you come back, they will remember your face. And many times you'll start getting in for free. It's absolutely crazy. And so chat with people. And the other rule that I have is, so I've been warming up outside already, not necessarily running around in circles, but on my way to the club, I take advantage of that opportunity and I talk to people. And once I'm in the club, my rule is talk to the first set there is. Like, literally, I'm not gonna scan through the venue and go get a drink first. No, I go in and I'm like, boom, first set. Like, this could be one girl, 5 dudes, who cares? This could be 2 fat girls, it doesn't matter. This could be 2 stunners. First fucking set I open. Hey, what's up? Hey, I just got here. Welcome to my party, right? At this point, you probably don't necessarily need the opening line anymore. Anything works. You know the deal already, huh? So that's important when it comes to warm-up. Now, what's the frame you should ideally come from? First and foremost, whenever I'm out there to do game, I want to tell myself it's possible to take a girl home today. I allow myself to get that into my reality because, quite frankly, and I've been there many times, I've seen students being there so many times, you fail at a situation that could be won simply because it's not part of your reality yet. Does that make sense? Like the absolute hardcore 10, she's like, oh, I'm here alone, all my friends left, and you're like, yeah, that's cool. Anyway, I gotta go, right? And then you're like, holy shit, maybe I could have fucked her. And you kind of gave up because it's not part of your reality yet. So I'm always telling myself it's absolutely possible to take home a girl, even if I have been on a dry spell, even if I have never taken home a girl. I remember my first one-night stand. That was actually a one-night stand. I was like, wow, I've never had sex with a woman that I met that night, and all of a sudden it happened, right? And then it became part of my reality, and that mindset was a lot more helpful than like, I don't think it's possible, right? The other thing is, it's not a big deal. That's basically the other extreme of that, right? It's possible you can do it, but it's also not a fucking big deal, dude. It's sex. Everybody's having sex, right? That way you just humanize this whole thing about getting to know a girl, having sex with her. It's all chill. You're like, okay, it's not even a big fucking deal. And this will also be reflected in what you behave or how you behave to the girl. Like, oh, it's not a big deal. Yeah, we have sex. Don't have sex. I don't even care. It's possible, I know, but it's not a big deal. And obviously the third frame that you want to have is the we frame. We've talked a lot about the we frame. We will talk even more about that in later chapters. The we frame is, look, dude, I'm here to party, I'm here to have a good time, and I'm here to meet new people. Just like everybody else, because all the PUA dudes out there, they always come from the me versus them kind of frame. I see that a lot. I hope you're now not doing that anymore, because it's bad. This whole like, oh, everybody's partying, having here a good time, but I'm just here to do the game thing. And then you don't fit in. And then this is also going to be reflected in the way you approach people and the way you interact with them. No, dude, you're part of the party. You're here to have fun, you're here to have a good time, and to get new people. Just like the 18-year-old girl that's dancing, just like the 35-year-old lawyer guy. We're all here to party, have a good time, and maybe get to know one or two new people. You're going to do a little more of approaching. You have a little bit of theory maybe in the back of your head and a little bit more reference experience, but that's cool. You're here to party, have a good time, and to get to know new people. Which brings me to the next point, what I call mindset quadrangle. Now, apparently, people don't say quadrangle anymore, but I do, so whatever. Number one, and some of them you heard already, but now let's go full circle and actually work on them precisely. Number one, the moment I said hi, I already won. This is so key. And I'll think that throughout the entire night. Doesn't matter if it's in the first half, in the warm-up, the second half, or third half. We'll talk more about that. Doesn't fucking matter. What does it do if I say that to myself the moment I said hi, I already won? Because it's true. The moment I said hi, I overcome my fear. I can prove myself that I do it. I'm taking action. I'm learning. And when I'm learning, I get better. And at some point, there's going to be sex the more I approach. It's as easy as that. I put myself into situations where sex can happen by approaching. It's crazy. Dude, a night out is mayhem. Sometimes I said hi to a girl, and it was instantly on, and I fucked. And it was awesome. I'm like, wow, it's cool, right? So the mere action of saying hi is already enough. If the girl later on has a great conversation with you, cool, bonus. If she sucks your dick in the bathroom, bonus. If you guys exchange numbers, bonus. If you fuck later on, bonus. If she becomes the mother of your future children, it's a bonus. Hey, by the way, Mary, remember 20 years ago when I talked to you? I just wanted to say hi. This is now a bonus. It's really, I truly believe that. I truly make myself believe that, because what does it do? It takes the pressure off you. You don't have the success criteria, because if you have, it's good to have a goal, but you should have an overall goal, not a goal for one approach or for this one fucking night, because there are a lot of factors that are playing into that you can't control. And even though you have super solid, perfect game, you just don't pull. Many times you have bad game and you do pull. So you can't control those factors in the short term. So it's cool to have a goal in the long term. Like, oh, in this year I want to get really good with girls. That's okay, but don't have a goal with that specific night other than learning. More importantly, don't have a goal with that specific set. So you take the pressure off yourself by saying, I just got to say hi, that's all I got to do. If you take your pressure off, you're more free from outcome, you enjoy it a lot more, you focus on learning, and the girl doesn't feel pressure. And when she doesn't feel the pressure, remember the three steps into arousal, she's comfortable with the situation, and then arousal can happen. Very closely related to the moment I said hi, I already won, is the next of the quadrangle mindset. I move my feet faster than my brain can think. So what I'm basically doing here is I'm physically or physiologically bypassing approach anxiety. So I'm actually working this whole thing of approach anxiety in terms of the inner game. The moment I said hi, I already won, right? Plus, I just physically move my feet faster than my fucking brain can think, because our brain is dumb, to be honest. It's a miracle, but it's also dumb because you can only do one thing at the same time. It can only approach, or it can shove you in your head. So I'm like, well, fantastic. Then I just move my feet in front of the fucking girl. I don't even think. I don't even give my brain the power, the time, the space to think bullshit. Because I'm already standing in front of the girl. And she's like, yeah, hi, what's up? And that way I'm on the spot. I don't have to come up with a pickup line. I'm natural. I'm forcing myself to be natural right off the open. And the cool thing is, the more you train yourself to do that, the more quick-witted you will get. The faster you will get with your responses, the more on point your verbal game will become, and the more on point your calibration will be. Because you just force yourself to doing that, right? It's like throwing a kid into the water. You will have to learn how to swim. It's a bad example. But that's basically what you want to do. And it's crazy because when you first do that, you're like, and it's very bumpy. But that's cool too. Remember what we talked about opening? It's okay. Embrace the awkwardness. Embrace the bumpiness, right? And later on, you're going to be so on point. You basically let your feet drag in front of the girl, and you're like, oh, hey, bam, 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 bam. And you have killer verbal game. You're able to calibrate on the spot. People always ask me, how do I learn how to calibrate on the spot? How do I learn to be witty? Well, the best way to learn witty is to force yourselves into situations where there's no other choice for you than to be witty. So I move my feet faster than my brain can think. Which brings me to the next of the quadrangle mindset, and that is, any state I find myself in is just fine. We talked about this in the natural state chapter. It's basically to put the weight off your shoulder. You don't need to have a good state. You don't need to force yourself into fun mode. Just, it's cool. Any state you find yourself in is fine. I love that. I always see that. How do I see that somebody's a chode? Upon entering the nightclub, it's always those guys who are like, woo, like try to like force themselves in the state. That's just fucking awkward. And then they want to approach a girl with all the energy they built up, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do, I need to get drunk, and then they get super drunk, and that's just awkward, right? It's cool to pump your state a little bit. It's cool to have fun and get yourself out of the comfort zone by screaming and yelling, but don't force it so much. Chill, okay? Allow yourself to be okay with whatever state you find yourself in, and also from that allowance, you get the allowance to feel better. Okay, but it's gotta be acceptance at the very baseline. Now, how to reach that state, this is something I do almost every day. Ask yourself, how are you feeling? Enter the club and ask yourself, how are you feeling? You're never gonna be okay with the state you find yourself in if you don't even know. So really, turn your attention inwards and be like, okay, I'm feeling pressured, I'm feeling excited, I'm feeling absolutely furious, I'm feeling scared as fuck. Cool. Tap into that. You want to be congruent. Remember, girls don't like the perfect guy. They like the guy who's perfectly fine with himself. Be aware of your feelings and thus tap into congruence. So once you're aware of your feelings, you can be congruent and then take all the pressure off yourself. And I just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just not in a good mood. That's cool. Okay, again, more on that in the natural state chapter or video. It's actually really cool. You see infield footage of me hating myself, but I accepted, and later on I have a killer fucking night because I allowed myself to do that. So that is the third one of the quadrangle mindset, and the fourth one to make the full square quadrangle. What can Max do to give Max a good time? And obviously, my name is Max. You use your name. Please do so. What can Max do to give Max a good time? What does that entail? That number one entails that it is your responsibility to have a good time. If you're not having fun, it's your fucking fault. I know that sounds tough, man, but you gotta deal with that. Look, why is that so important? Why do I hammer that concept in so much? Because nowadays, we're not used to that anymore. Nowadays, when we're bored and we want to be entertained, what do? We get out the phone. We go on YouTube. We go on 9gag. We go on Facebook. It's basically, hey, I want to be entertained. I want to have fun. Give it to me. And we have it instantly. Right? All of a sudden, you go into the nightclub, and the RSD guy says to you, you got to have fun and bring the party. And you're like, how do I do that? I can't bring the phone to the set. Yeah, dude, wake the fuck up. Welcome to the real life 20 years ago. There is no other choice for you than giving yourself the fun. You might remember that back in the days when you were at school and you had detention, or it was super boring. You were just bored out of your mind. There was no cell phones yet. You found ways to entertain yourself. You put your pen on a whatever, you put two pens and acted like it is a spaceship. Like anything, like you become creative. You gotta find ways to entertain yourself. You gotta find ways to give yourself a good time. It's not the DJ's responsibility to play your songs. If you're a metalhead like me, there's 0 songs that you're gonna really enjoy. It's not the girl's responsibility to be fun and witty. I love that when I hate that. I love that when there's guys like, I just don't think hot girls are fun. I think they're stupid. Yeah, dude. Because it's your fucking responsibility to have a good time. And the beauty about that is that's the second thing is lost stage returns. Once you have a good time, people want to be part of that. People want to be part of the party. They're all entering the club and the bar, searching for that one guy that is fun. They subconsciously just want to be part of where the fun part is. It's as easy as that. Now let's talk about the structure of the night. And this is important too because the way you ideally behave differs throughout the night. And I see that mistake so many times. The P-Way guy comes in at 10 p.m. into the club, 11 p.m. into the club, and he's like, you, bah, 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 like trying to make out, tries to isolate the girl. It's just fucking weird. It's weird because let's divide the night into 3 halves. Yes, 3 halves. I know it's usually 2. It sounds funnier, right? It sticks better with you if I say 3 halves of the night. There's 3 halves of the night. First half of the night is the beginning. People are coming in. If you would, and I would recommend you doing this, look around the club just for 5 seconds and try to like analyze what people are thinking. And you're probably going to think something like, okay, they're stifled, they're in their head a little bit, they're hanging out in their little social circles, they're not drunk yet, there's no partying yet, there's no grinding on a dance floor, there's no makeouts yet, there's no singing, growling, whatever. People are just there. It's like first day of school. Everybody's like, because it's awkward. Because here's the thing. This is something that it took me a year or 2 to realize, or even longer. I am not the only one that's stifled. I'm not the only, because I'm the PUA guy. I'm stifled. Everybody else is just naturally good. No, dude, you just know how to name it. Everybody else thinks it's awkward as fuck to be in a nightclub, because it is. So you got to realize that the people are stifled themselves. People need to be warmed up. So let's dumb it down even easier. The 3 rules here. The 3 things that a natural does in the first half of the night. And as a side note, if you don't know what half it is, there's no like time, like from 10 to 12, the first half. No, look around. If people are still stifled, nobody's partying, nobody's making out, you're still in the first half of the night. So the 3 things you should do is number 1, be social. Nothing new. Be social. Why? Why is it important? Because towards the end of the night, the second or the third half of the night, you want to reach social momentum. For you, it should be the most normal thing in the world to hit up people left and right, pull people in, have a good time, and chat. You're not going to miraculously reach that state. No, you can work on it. You can effectively work on it. You will reach that state every time you go through those motions. So be social. Don't be the guy who stands in the corner like, I only talk to the 9s and 10s. And then he bathes in his own like self-love or whatever the fuck, you know. And then like one 9 comes over like after 2 hours, like, oh hey, excuse me. And the girl's like, oh fuck. Now I gotta wait another 2 hours until the 9 or 10 comes. No, dude, unless you're in Sweden. Shout out to Sweden. No, it's just not gonna happen. So you gotta work on that in terms of talking to everybody, not just the 9s and 10s, guys, girls, fat girls, hot girls, bartender. Talk to anybody that is there. And ideally, it's so cool. Once you reach that full flow with people, you're going to be talking, and all of a sudden there's a 10 talking to you, and there's another cute girl talking to you. For you, it's just natural. You don't think about like, okay, I'm going to approach that hottie over there. No, you're just like, bam, bam, talking, merging, bringing this girl over to that girl. It's going to be natural for you, okay? So socialize with people. Feel free to have a short conversation with them, just like 1 or 2 minutes. That's cool. Leave on a high note when you do that, right? Oh, yeah, you guys are cool. See you later. Why is that so important? We'll talk more about this later. You let the venue work for you, basically. So at the end of the night, there's all these people that know you. You create social proof out of nothing. You could go to a city, you don't know anybody. If you work the club for you, or the bar, or the venue, whatever it is, you're good to go. Which brings me to the second point, maximum number close. Okay? If throughout your socializing process, you get to know a girl, it's very cool, you screen her properly, more about screening in a second, she's available, she's down probably to a certain extent to later on meet up, but you know, she wants to go back to her friends, you want to go back to your friends, you want to keep socializing, maximum number close. Don't try to isolate, make out in the first half of the night, don't try to pull because it's not going to happen. The girl's not going to fuck you even though she likes you a lot. Very rarely that happens. It happens every once in a while. It happens every couple months if you go out every day. The girl's just down, and in the first half, you go home fucking and then you come back. That's cool, but don't expect that. Look, it's like watching porn. right? You watch porn, you ever did it? That's at least how I, whenever I do watch porn, I watch porn. I don't just open a clip and then like, this one's hot, and then I start jerking off. Even if she's the hottest chick I would find that night, you know, I'd open a bunch of tabs, I would check a little bit, jerk off a little bit here, jerk off, and at the end, I commit to this one clip and I come. You know, private here, too much information. But that's the same with the girl. Even if she totally likes you, she's probably not want to go home with you first because she just wants to see what else is there. For the girl, it's really like a whole movie, right? She wants to have the whole experience. She wants to have her emotions spiked. She wants to have her buying temperature pumped. And at the end of the night, there's this one guy she can go home with. And the beauty about that, we'll talk more about this in the third half of the night, it doesn't necessarily need to be the best guy. It just needs to be the guy that's there and that knows how to go through emotions, aka you, my friend. We'll talk more about this later. So maximum number of clothes. If you happen to like a girl, be like, hey, you know what, you're cool, let's hang out later. Don't be like, maybe we could go have a drink someday. No, let's hang out later. You can even be like, what are you doing later? How long are you here for? When are you leaving? I leave at 3. Cool. I'll text you at 2:30. See you later. It's cool if you run into her later anyway, but number close is always safe. Don't try to fall into the trap of, I'm going to see her later. Many times I never did. Like, it was super solid, never saw that girl again because she bounced or whatever. Do number closer. And the thing is, the number close doesn't necessarily have to be like number and then get the fuck out. No. If throughout your conversation you have a high note and you feel there's a great connection, right, your gut feeling, exchange numbers and then keep chatting. Make it just very, very organic thing that happens throughout the interaction. Which brings me to the third thing I want you to do in the third half of the night. It goes along with the fourth quadrangle mindset, push your own buttons. The earlier you do that, the better. The earlier you start pushing your own buttons, the better the mood is going to be, the easier the game is going to be for you. So find things that you always like. For me, air bass, air guitar, air drum, singing, joking around, role plays, giving fake answers, befriending people, have a good time, collecting high five, giving high fives out, whatever it is, right? Push your own buttons. That is the first half of the night. Before we're heading to the second half of the night, I do want to mention that the night is a marathon run, not a sprint. This is very key. I see many people there overly excited, which is a great thing. You know, they're like, yeah, I can't wait to go out and pimp and do the natural game and learn. And then they go out there, it's just like, boom, 1 a.m. Oh, I can't. Energy low, boom, go home. Don't do that. The night's a marathon run. Okay, so do keep trying to approach in a very, very flowing manner all the time. Don't try to have longer periods where you're just standing around. But still, chill. You're going to be in a nightclub for a long time. If you live in the west coast of the States, it's probably between 10 and 2. It's 4 hours. If you live in Europe or East Coast, this can be 6, 8, 9 fucking hours. Do not underestimate that. Okay, you start going out at 10, you start socializing at 10, until you pull, it could be 4 a.m. If you don't pull, you third half of the night, walking through the empty, half-empty streets at 5 a.m. in the morning, you need that energy. So really make sure that you balance that, okay? You save enough energy so you can keep running around for a long time. What helps a lot is, let's talk about that here, is too, eating, meal. Don't try to have like a light dinner as the last, food of that day. It's not going to work. You're going to run out of energy. If you're natural fatty like me, you're going to be like, fuck it, I will go home. So the biggest meal I take in during the day is the meal that I take in before I go out. So this is really try to pump up those calories as much as possible. On the other hand, or on top of that, bring protein bars, granola bars, anything like an apple, something that you can easily have in your pocket. Bring it to the club. It sounds ridiculous, but it will help you a lot. In fact, when I'm in a city where the nights are longer, I bring 2 protein bars. So I eat super well before. I pop the first protein bar at 1 a.m. Gives me an extra just energy boost. I keep going. And the other one at 3 a.m. Really, it helps so fucking much. Make it as easy as possible for you to stay there at night and keep collecting numbers, reference experiences, or giving yourself the possibility to pull. So yeah, protein bars are absolutely key. The good thing is it's so nice to open with those too. Like so many times I got open just because I was eating a protein bar. The guy's like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, oh, protein. You want some? 20 grams of protein per piece, right? Boom, boom, boom. And then you can keep chatting. You can pull her. I have more protein at home. Remember the story about Tomas, my friend? So that is a good thing. And as a side note, don't eat anything that gives you bad breath. I had a friend once. I was like, hey, I need a wingman. I have these 2 girls here, blah, blah, blah. And he came out, and I was like, dude, I can't even fucking talk to you, man. Here, eat a gum. Eat 4 of them. And I was like, what did you eat? He's like, garlic rice. Why? Dude, don't eat garlic rice before you go out. What I usually eat is yogurt with muesli, if you're from Europe, or granola if you're from the States. And a little bit of honey, extra protein in there, whey protein, and fruits. Yogurt keeps it neutral. It's like has like a neutralizing effect on your tongue, so you don't have necessarily bad breath. It's very neutral breath. Plus fruits, it's nice and sugary. Gives you a lot of carbohydrates with the granola and stuff like that. Get yourself some extra protein, whey protein powder, anything like that. Mix that in there. This thing, if you do it right, has 1,000 calories. 1,000 calories, and that's pretty good. After that, brush your teeth, and there's this tongue scraper too. I always use them. You can literally scrape the bullshit, stinky, nasty, stinky, poopy stuff off your tongue. That helps a lot. Brush your teeth and bring gum. Okay, now for some people like, what the fuck, Max is ranting about that, but some people really need that. If you're one of those, mouth hygiene, okay? There's nothing more disgusting. Nothing that keeps you more from making out with a lot of chicks than bad breath. All right, so that is key. So when night's a marathon run, it is not a sprint, which brings me to the second half of the night. What does the second half of the night look like? Well, I say it simply, love is in the air. If you see people making out with each other, grinding at the dance floor, partying, being loud and free, and there's alcohol, and people are partying and dancing around, that is the second half of the night, okay? So again, it's not the term of the night. No, look at people. Feel the energy of the venue. That is the second half of the night. Now, very simple, 2 things I don't want you to do ideally, because that's what the natural does. The second half of the night, commit to a girl, number 1, and or instant escalation if you feel it. So you can be a little more risky. You can be a lot more physical. This is the time where you can gather instant makeouts, double makeouts, and all this party kind of stuff. You can do it. That's totally cool. Many times those instant makeout girls and stuff like that are not the girls I intend to pull. We'll talk more about this, should I kiss her before or afterwards. Basically, I want the girl that I eventually want to pull to be in her head a little bit, to wonder, does he like me? Why is he not making out with me? Stuff like that. But if you feel like it, if it's part of pushing your own buttons to make out with girls, do instant escalation, stuff like that, instant hug, you can experiment with that in the second half of the night. Why not in the first half of the night? Because people are stifled. Everybody was like, what the fuck? You know, if you pull that shit off, you become that guy in the venue that hits on the girls, right? More about that in the chapter Social Chameleon, which is highly advanced calibration. More about that in there. And let's talk about committing to a girl. Well, you want to commit to a girl that you like and that likes you. And there is a big part of screening. If you want to commit to a girl, there's a big part of screening. So let's talk about this. Obviously, you want to screen for 2 things. You want to screen for availability, and you want to screen for logistics. What do I mean by availability? Ideally, she's single, right? She's not married. She doesn't have a boyfriend. She's not, what's that called? Fiancé thing, you know? I mean, sometimes they want to fuck still, but ideally you choose a single girl. It's just a lot less complications. Now, how do you screen for availability? What many guys do is like, do you have a boyfriend? The thing is, if you ask her that straight away, girls will be very inclined to give you fake answer. I know the following is going to sound a little illogical, but bear with me. I hope you know by now that we should abandon the notion of logic to a great extent when it comes to natural game. Because if you ask a girl that has a boyfriend, whether or not she has a boyfriend, and she says yes, what does a girl run danger of happening? Well, the fun guy, aka you, is going to piss off because you have a boyfriend. Right? She's gonna be like, well, girl, you have a boyfriend. If you tell him you got a boyfriend, he's gonna be gone. And there's no more nice validation coming from him, and there's no more cool, fun alpha male guy. No, he's gonna be gone. So I'm just gonna say no, just so I keep getting the good times and the good validation from the guy. Right? Not good. Sometimes the girl doesn't have a boyfriend, and she claims she does, just to see how you react. Again, logic, right? I had that once. I opened a girl that was in Vegas, super hot. I'm like, hey, what's up? And she's like, I want to say I have a fiance, so you don't have to talk to me. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. So anyway, and I keep chatting, have a good time, because why the fuck not? I was socializing, and after half an hour, she's like, I have something to admit. I'm like, yeah, what's up? I don't have a fiance. I just wanted to see how you react, right? And we men are like, dumb, you fucking dumb. No, it's girl's logic, okay? It's basically a test, a shit test, okay? It's like, oh, how much is he going to be interested in me as a person? Or if he just wants to fuck me, right? That's why I'm going to throw it at them. So ideally, refrain from asking the question directly. So how do you screen for availability? By asking the question without asking the question. Super easy. Something I love to say is, are you married? Now, most of the time you're going to speak to like a girl in her early 20s. She's like, no, why the fuck would I be married, right? And so you say, are you married? And she's like, no. And then you say, why not? If she says something like, oh, I just haven't met the right guy, single. Oh, me and my boyfriend want to wait. Taken, not single, okay? So you can ask that. Then another thing that you could ask is, you could be like, oh, when was your last relationship? Well, it was 2 years ago. Well, I'm in a relationship right now. All right, you see, you ask the question without asking the question. And the other thing, you can let your wingman ask. Now, the cool thing about that is, for example, that only works when it's a 2-on-2 set, right? So your wingman is talking to one or multiple girlfriends of the girl you're talking to, and he says something like, oh, hey, I see your friend is talking to my friend. She's cute. Is she single? He can ask you very directly because the friends don't know about the dynamics that you have in your conversation, so he can basically screen for you. And then they're like, oh yeah, she has a boyfriend for many years. And then he could basically intervene after a couple of minutes. Like, hey man, let's go talk to our other friends, right? And then you're like, okay, thanks for letting me know, right? Or he can whisper in your ear, something like that. So he can ask for you, and actually you can also ask for him. As easy as that. So you want to ask the question, screen for availability, without asking the question. It's also a lot about her behavior. Remember, when we ask logically, she might be inclined to lie. Behavior, it's always more about what she does and how she responds to things than what she actually says. So things like holding hands with you, being very huggy, being very physical, especially in front of her friends, she allows that to happen a lot easier when she does not have a boyfriend, right? Because she knows her friends know that she has a boyfriend, so she's going to be like, okay, if I am seen with holding hands with another guy, I'm a slut in front of my friends group, right? So if the situation allows for the two of you to be very physical in a very open manner, chances that she doesn't have a boyfriend are very, very high as well. I would combine that with the asking the indirect question without asking the question, and then you know whether or not she's available. The other thing is you want to screen for logistics. Logistics is basically, what is the girl's situation? And there's 3 questions that you would always want to inquire. Who are you here with? Number 1. Number 2, where do you live, or where are you staying? Number 2. And number 3, what are you doing tomorrow? Will you be available tomorrow? Now, why are those 3 things so important? Number 1, who you're here with. You want to know about her friends, because remember, the person or persons who are going to give an okay whether or not you can go home with your girl is not her, or it's not you, it's not Tyler, it is her fucking friends. And you want to know that ASAP. Also, when it comes to polling, there's a big difference between the number or amount of friends she's here with. Let's say, for example, the ideal answer to how many people or who are you here with is I'm here alone. Right? That's what we call the jackpot. That is the gift from Odin, the pickup god. Every now and then, I truly believe in the universe giving you that free girl because you've been hustling your ass off. Like, seriously, like every time I go out for a longer period, there's always like, after a couple of months, this one girl is there alone. And then I pull her because she's there to be pulled. Like, a girl would never be like, I'm going to go to the bar alone. But not, no, she's going to fuck somebody. She's planning to fuck somebody. So that's like the extra jackpot that can happen. Other than that, the ideal answer is something like, oh, I'm here with 10 friends from work. Why is that so ideal? Well, first of all, they're from work. It's not like a close-knit friends group. It's like acquaintances. Also, it's 10 people. So whether or not it's 10 or 11 or 10 or 9 people doesn't really make much of a difference. Nobody's going to be like, we're all here, but where's Lisa? Oh my God, right? They're not going to search for her or whatever. It's just random acquaintances. And the girl will be a lot more inclined to come with you to ditch those 10 random acquaintances for a great orgasm night out. Then what would be the worst answer? Something like, I'm here with my best friend / sister. She's not going to ditch her best friend / sister, leave her alone in the nightclub. She might even, her friend doesn't know anybody. She's from another town. She crashes at her place, all that. They share rides together. That is the worst possible answer, because she's not going to ditch her best friend / sister for you. And I love that how PewDiePie's like, but I just need better games, so she ditches all her friends. It barely ever happens. Like, sometimes it works that the girl's just like, okay, you're so fucking awesome, fuck my friend, I don't care, you know. Those are very empowered women. But 99% of the times, it's not going to happen. So that is not so an ideal answer. And I got to say here, logistics are never going to be ideal. They're never going to be ideal. Barely ever. 99% of the time, there's always some shit. So just because logistics are not ideal doesn't mean you should not go for the poll. So really important. Logistics are not supposed to be ideal. Work with them. Basic gist, the hotter the girl is, the worse her logistics can be, unless the logistics are impossible. Like, legitimately impossible. She can't leave for whatever reason there is. Number close, let it go, pull another girl. Facilitate a very, very solid foundation so you can get a date 2 very easily. But all in all, that's cool. You know, go talk to another girl. The second logistical question you want to inquire here, mentioned earlier, is where do you live / where are you staying? What's the worst? What's the ideal answer? I live around the corner, right? That's good. That way you could ideally pull to her place, or even if you pull to your place, it's not that big of a deal. As opposed to the bad example, the worst possible answer, something like, oh, I live 2 hours outside, we're all sharing a ride there, something like that. I have to catch a train, like the last train that goes to my suburban home in 2 hours. That's not so good, because it's going to be more difficult for her to come to your place, because then she's like, I don't know where I am, I'm even further away from home, I got to catch my train, got to catch my ride, yada, yada, yada. Makes sense, right? So you want to inquire that. The third logistical question that you want to inquire about is, what are you doing tomorrow? It's not that important, but still. The ideal answer is like, oh, tomorrow I'm just going to sleep in, nothing to do, or I have work at 4 p.m. tomorrow, anything like that. That way, that means if you're going to, spend the night with each other, if it's going to be an elongated poll, the girl's not going to give you shit. She's going to be okay with that. As opposed to the worst possible answer, something like, I have to go to work in 3 hours. I have to pick up my mom in 2 hours. Anything like that. Not so good. Okay, so those are the logistical things that you want to screen for on top of availability. And all these factors, plus the amount of you liking her, her hotness, her coolness, whatever, all these factors playing in and you committing to a girl. Which brings me to the next point, the 3 stages of every pull. The 3 stages of every pull: decide, commit, baby step. Decide, commit, baby step. About the decision. So I said all those screening things flow into the decision. On top of that, do you like her? Probably, otherwise you wouldn't be talking to her. You should like her enough. Because I had it sometimes where students are like, I'm not sure if I like her enough. If you're not sure if she's hot enough, don't do it. You can pull her just for a reference experience if there's no better girls around. But if you doubt, like, I just don't know if I should fuck her, not sure if she's hot enough, no, she's not. Keep your standards high, my friend. Again, you can pull her for the reference experience, but then other than that, I wouldn't necessarily have sex with her. And, also, does she like you? Remember, what is the biggest IOI a girl can ever give you? She's still there. So she's still there, she listens to your dumb shit, you're good to go. Is she available? You're good to go. Do the logistics allow it to a great extent? Are they not impossible? You're good to fucking go. And when I say you gotta make the decision that you want to pull her, I mean it. The decision should literally look like, I'm going to pull this girl no matter what. I choose that fucking girl right now. And I'm either gonna pull her or I'm gonna die trying. Basically. Not obviously die trying, but basically die trying. I call this the Pokemon frame. I choose you, right? This is the girl I choose for today. That is the girl I want to pull, and you got to commit to that 100%. And the thing is, it's never about the right decisions, because many guys get stuck in that, like, I don't know if I should pull her or not. It's never about the right decision. You're not Nostradamus. You don't fucking know what's going to happen. It's much more about how well are you going to execute that decision. How are you going to stick to the plan? And you better fucking stick to it very, very well. Which brings me to the next stage, the second stage of every pull, that is commit. After you decide, I want to pull this girl no matter what, now you gotta fucking commit to it. And dude, trust me, there's gonna be some shit. It's inevitable. Like, I think I had like a handful of pulls, maybe a dozen pulls that worked, just like no friction, nothing happening, no shit, no LMR, nothing. But all the hundreds of pulls I had, there's always going to happen something. And it's usually the moment where you think, oh, this is smooth, I am the shit. There's going to be some bullshit happening. Her friend coming in that doesn't like you, even though you're super nice. Some other ex-boyfriend showing up. The cab driver cock blocking you. The bouncer cock blocking you. Her, like, twisting her ankle. Forgetting her jacket. Losing her phone. Losing her friends. All these examples that I just gave you happened to me in person. Sometimes I still made it and pulled her. Sometimes it was a no-go. I had, a friend of mine had a homeless person die. Like, he was in the metro with the girl. By the way, never go by public transport. Always try to pull with a cab. Even if you're broke, make her pay, doesn't matter. He was in the metro with the girl, and a homeless person just like fell, like had like some spastic seizure and died. And everybody's like, oh my God, and the girl like started crying and shit. Another friend had it that the girl didn't have a ticket for the Nightline bus, and she had to pay like $100 in fee, and he was just sitting there awkwardly, like he had the ticket and she didn't. There's a lot of shit happening. Go fucking deal with it. I once left the nightclub. This is, by the way, a story from the 3-minute poll from the 50 Shades of Max that you should definitely check out. You got it for free. I was leaving the girl. She was down to fuck me. And then the guy who tried to pull her earlier was like, hey, like, whatever her name was, like, Marie. And she's like, what the fuck? And I had to, like, send my wingman in to occupy him and all kinds of shit. She's whack it. There is going to be some shit. I guarantee it. Now, the thing is, if you decided that I'm going to pull this girl no matter what, you're going to stand your ground. And you're not going to give up like, oh, it didn't work. You're like, fuck it. I've tried it. Oh, friend comes in. Friend. Forgot her jacket. Give her my jacket. Talk to the bouncer so you can go back later and get the jacket. All kinds of things. And, dude, that is the very, very thing that epic stories are made from. It's awesome. Like, if you commit, you're like, and then the tram came, and then the guy fucking died, and the guy tried to cock block me, and then she was on her period, or whatever, and then I pulled her, and then we had sex. That's a lot cooler, if you ask me, in terms of storytelling, than a smooth pull. I mean, smooth pull is cool as well. But yeah, that is commitment. Now, important too, as a side note, do not change your mind. It's happened a lot of times to me, especially in the beginning. I had like a couple solid number closes, like exchange numbers with the girl. It was all going well. And then I decided I want to pull that girl. And she gave me a little bit of shit. Then upon pulling at the coach check, I saw the other girl I had a cool connection earlier with. So I was like, oh, fuck it, goodbye. And I talked to the other girl, and then I gave 50% there and 50% there. And eventually I went home with no girls. Because you gotta give 100% when it's time to pull. Which brings me to the third stage of pulling. Kind of the second stage, committing. It's something that goes throughout the entire pull, obviously, but the third stage is baby stepping. You want to baby step the girl, and there's a couple small, extra rules that are applicable every time you move the girl, even if you just bounce her from the bar to the couch or from the bar to the dance floor. Number one, don't ask. So, if you want to baby step the girl, I remember my pulls back in the days, or my pull attempts were like, hey, meeting, blah, 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 chat her up, then make out on the dance floor, and then I'm like, do you want to go home now? She's like, no, what the fuck? So you gotta baby step from the nightclub. Ideally, you baby step in the bar, in the nightclub, a little bit back and forth, yeah? You can use that as a ping to see how willing is a girl to follow you. Like, oh, hey, let's go to the bar. Hey, let's talk to your friends. Let's talk to my friends. Let's go to the dance floor. Let's go to where the quiet area, the smoking area, outside. And you start pulling outside, like, hey, grab your jacket. Let's go grab a bite to eat. Let's go catch some fresh air. Actually, I know a better place. Let's go. It's 5 minutes away by cab. Oh, the place is closed. Well, I live here, right? That's baby stepping. And every time you baby step, never ask. If you ask, you're basically giving her the choice between, do you want to look like a slut or do you want to look like a not a slut? What do you want? The girl's always like, not a slut, so I'm always going to go with no. That is the basic, natural, underlying communication when you ask. So always come from the verbalization of let us. Hey, let's do this. Let's do that. Followed by the infamous elbow move. We'll talk more about this later on. Number two, don't wait. Many guys are doing it right with the don't ask thing. Like, hey, let's go to the bar. And the girl's like, no. You just like, hey, let's go to the bar. Elbow, take her hand, and go. Obviously, if she's not willing, if she's like holding back full on, it's cool. That's physical calibration. Remember, that is a no. Calibrate, apologize, change the topic, and try again later. And the other one is time constraint. I said a lot. Let's go to the bar real quick. Hey, let's go say hi to your friends for 2 minutes. Hey, let's go outside, catch some fresh air for 5 minutes. Always time constrained. It's a lot easier for the girl to comply to these little 10% things than when you say like, let's go home, right? Let's go home and stay there for 4 hours and have sex. That's like a big 100% commitment from her. But if you say, hey, let's go there real quick. Let's do this for 2 minutes. Those are these little 10% commitments that it's a lot easier for the girl to commit to. Okay, so now you know how to pull. Okay, those are the 3 stages. You're there with a girl. You're committing to her in the second half of the night. You're vibing, right? Vibing, you're physical, all that stuff. And now it's time to actually go for a pull. How does a pull from a naturally attractive standpoint look like? A pull always has 4 components. Ideally, they're not that important to have all 4 of them, but if you want to have a solid possible pull with the least amount of interference, you want to adhere to all those 4 things. Number 1 is vibing. And I gotta say here too, before we get into vibing, it depends on the girl. Like some girls need a lot more of one component and not so much of the other. You're able to calibrate that, okay? You will see the signs. Now, the first component that you need is vibing. Very, very easy. It's basically having fun, keeping the good energy up, having a cool conversation back and forth. Basically having a good energy in the set. Component number 2 is comfort, rapport, if you want to call it old school pickup. That is basically her trusting you, right? You're a cool guy through vibing. She knows you're the shit. You're bossing her around maybe a little bit, right? You're alpha, you're cool, you're fun, you're lighthearted, you're social. But also, you need to be a person that she can trust. You need to be a human being. Open yourself up a lot more. I mentioned that earlier upon polling. I talk a lot about just more serious topics, more myself opening up topics. Talk about my childhood, first time I went to school, how I felt, my passions, how it makes me feel, right? I open myself up because I want the girl to feel comfortable with me. I don't want the girl to wonder like, what if he's a murderer, right? No, I want to make sure that she feels comfortable with coming with me. That is the second component. The third component is a little more complicated, is chasing. And by chasing, I don't mean the girl like, oh my God, please fuck me. No, I mean the subtle, actual kind of chasing that girls do naturally. The thing with that is, and this is where beauty of the natural no game comes in. It's very, very subtle, and girls will love you for it because every girl likes to work on a guy. Quick example, why do you think do all these girls want to date the asshole, the douchebag, the player? Because they want to be the one that changes him. They want to be the one that makes him commit to her. I don't know, it's female ego if you ask me. They love working on a guy. They love having that challenge. The thing is, she wants to feel like she earned the privilege of coming with you. And this is something I see so many times not being done by the PUAs. They're just like pushing, like come, let's go. Until the girl just like gives up. You know, like the resistance, like, okay, I gotta fuck me. But that's not the natural game. That's not the ideal no-game game. Again, you want to make her feel like she deserved coming with you, right? Play a little bit with her female ego. The basic underlying natural communication is that you want to communicate to the girl, you're cool. I like you. But I'm not sure about you yet. You're cool, but... And that way, you know, you show the girl that she's cool, that you like cool people, and you qualify her, but you're not sure about her a little bit, right? And that gives her the room to chase. And that's where she's like, when you finally say, you know what, you're cool. I wasn't sure about you, but now I know you're cool. Let's go. She's like, I earned it. Yeah. Right? People don't give value to things that are for free. There's a great quote by Tyler who says, why do people not read books? Because they're cheap. Because they're $10. People can't believe that something that only costs $10 is so fucking valuable, right? Don't be the $10 of game where you just push. No, be the $100, $200, $2,000 of game. We're just like, you know, you're cool, but I'm not sure yet, okay? And the girl will love you to get that challenge, to accept the challenge of earning the privilege of coming with you. Now the thing is, from a deep psychological standpoint of the human psyche, why does that work so much better than you just pushing? Here's the deal. Because people are infinitely more bought in to their own ideas. Isn't that beautiful? That is, by the way, as a side note, the reason why you can't just tell your friends about game and then they're going to be like, yeah, game is awesome. No, usually your friends are going to be like, oh, it's a scam, it's weird, it's creepy, until they get the idea. Like, hey, actually, this game is fucking awesome, boom, 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 and then they're bought in and then they're hooked, right? So if you give the girl a chance to think that she earned a privilege to come with you, or not even think, you should really honestly think that she earned a privilege of coming with you, she will be bought into this whole idea of coming with you a lot more because it was her idea. Obviously, you helped her out, you gave her that opportunity to do so, but yeah, she's going to be bought into that a lot more. Which leads to the next one is give her space. That is also part of those 4 components of pulling, of chasing, right? The third one, chasing. Give her space. That means every time she invests, back off and let her invest. I know, dude, your verbal game is the shit. I know you're in the zone. I know you could literally just like stand or game in the wall. You have as much fun as possible. That's cool. That's cool. And I know that verbal game usually sucks because they're hot girls and they're not used to do that. But you gotta be able to shut the fuck up when they invest. We'll talk more about this later. Because many times, you know, you're like in the zone, you're like, and then a girl's like, do you come here often? And you're just like, yeah, so anyway, you don't even care. No, when she asks something back, shut the fuck up and let her talk. Be comfortable with the occasional awkward silence. Because guess what? It's a little awkward for the girl too, and she will do everything in her power to keep the conversation going. She starts investing. She starts chasing. Little things like that. Get yourself in a position of advantage. The girl will like it. The girl will love that she has to fight for your attention. Talk with other people while you're talking with her. Go take her by the hand and talk to other sets if you're not out there pulling it with her, because she's going to be like, oh, I need to fight a little bit for his attention. I love it, right? Give her that fucking space. It's cool because the basic underlying communication there for the girl is like, finally somebody who gives me a chance to invest a little bit as well. Right? Especially the hot girls. We talked a lot about this in the hot girl reality video. Finally, I can say things too. It's not just like the guy spilling his game, hoping that it hooks. No, I can contribute to the conversation as well. Isn't that great? Girls love that. I know different than us, right? We're like, oh, if the girl comes over, wants to fuck me, yeah, the less work, the better, right? But for girls, it's the exact opposite. Now, the fourth component of pulling is a component that actually comes in once you're so smooth in your pulling, once you're so solid with your game that you need to adhere even more to that, and that is the it just happened frame, the spontaneity frame. That is just fucking key because, again, remember, you want to construct that reality between you and the girl where coming home together and having sex together is something beautiful. Is something that just happened, is something that is socially acceptable. Remember, the natural knows how to wrap the gift of sex into a socially acceptable, nice little gift paper, or wrapping gift paper, or whatever you call it, okay? That is what you need to do because the girl knows what's up. Look, again, it's not tricking the girl into believing that she's going to come home with you, but no, she knows you're going to have sex. She knows you're an alpha male. She knows physicality. She knows she likes you. She knows you like her to a certain extent. You give her space to chase and all that. She just wants to make sure that later on, if she's telling her friends where she was, if she's telling herself what happened, that it's okay that it just happened, right? That is why you can't just walk up to the girl and be like, oh, let's go home and fuck. No, you got to find some excuse. And that could be any excuse. It could be a total dumb excuse too. After party. Let's go to after party. Who defines an after party, right? It could be the two of you having a drink, listening to music. Drinks, right? Anything like that. Oh, yeah, drinks at home. They're a lot cheaper. I had this one guy, a student of mine. He would always pull with, hey, the drinks are so expensive. Let's go home. They're a lot cheaper, right? Something like that. The view. Any view does. Right? It's a view of the parking lot. It's the best parking lot in the world, right? Upsell it a little bit. Yeah, it's the best view. You got to check it out. I usually, hang out there. I'm inspired, then I write things, it's beautiful, then I think, I hang out on my balcony overlooking that parking lot. You know what? I'll show you, let's go. right? Video games, let's play Mario Kart. There's nothing better than an N64. Everybody loves Mario Kart. Uno card games is cool too. Magic the Gathering, even though I've never tried that myself, but would be a cool idea. Pictures, I show you the pictures I shot from my traveling. Oh, I just came back from fucking Thailand. I show you the pictures. Videos, hey, you know, I gotta watch that video with you. It's so fucking funny. Let's go. Cooking, hey, I'm hungry. Can you cook? You know what? I have pizza. Let's go eat pizza. You do the dishes. I prepared a pizza. I always put like extra cheese on it. Super good. Upsell a pizza a little bit. Watching a movie, chilling together, hang out, weed, StarCraft and weed. Anything fucking does. Any excuse that you can adhere to that makes it acceptable for a girl from a social standpoint to come with you. On top of that, the spontaneity frame on this, it's part of the it just happened. Always make the girl feel like it's something special for you as well, because usually it is for the girl. She's not going to go out every day like you trying to pull, right? Probably not. So it's something special for her too. Even if you think in your head like, another pull, make her feel like it's something spontaneous and crazy for you as well, right? The adventure frame. Like, oh my God, this is so spontaneous. I like it. We were in the club party and now we're going home party. That's so cool. Yeah, it's cool, right? Spontaneity takes the pressure off her. And when you take the pressure off her for the 1000th time, you let arousal happen. You give space so arousal can happen. Now, what I want to do now with you, my friend, is a guessing game, just to illustrate the point a lot better and to, you know, hammer it into your brain, because with examples it's always easier. What we're going to do now is I tell you a couple stories or I show you some infield footage, and then we guess together what of those 4 components was the one that was missing. Number 1, I remember I was in Orlando, and I just started assisting. I assisted Jeffy, actually. You know Jeffy, he went home and boot camp was over. I've been filming all day, I remember. And I was walking on the streets. I had like 5 minutes to pull. You know, like it was 2:30. I'm like, I'm horny, I want to fuck. And I met this like extremely tall and lean girl, just absolutely stunning. And I remember she was wearing hot pants. And turns out she was a model. And I approached her, blah, blah, blah. She was on her way to the car. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on the way too. Let's go together. On the parking lot, I baby stepped into the car. So I baby stepped from like, oh, just getting to know her. Oh, I'm actually walking the same direction. Oh, that's your car. Cool, show me. Baby step inside the car. And then we were hanging out, having a really great time, listening to music. And at some point, I started escalating. And I was so horny and she was so hard that I just like pushing. And it was amazing because I fingered her, and she like rubbed my dick and everything, but for some goddamn fucking reason, I couldn't fuck her. It didn't happen. Sex didn't happen. There was just nothing. The energy was not cool enough for the two of us to have sex. What was missing? Let's see. I did have a good vibing phase. I was chatting with her. I had a good time. She laughed a lot, yada, yada, yada. She could definitely trust me. I've talked about my childhood, about my travels, how I'm excited to be in Orlando, how I love it here, yada, yada, yada. And I also came from the spontaneity frame, and it just happened. Like, oh, it's so cool. Now we're rocking here in this car. It's sick after party, yay. But what was missing was I didn't make her chase. I didn't make her at any point feel like she deserved the privilege of me hanging out with her. It was basically just me trying to weasel myself into her pants. And that is why she didn't feel comfortable enough to indulge in sex with me. Just didn't happen. As a side note, we had a good time anyway. At some point I was like, you know what, that's cool. Let's exchange numbers. I got to go to sleep. She gave me a ride home. Then we chatted a little more. And then funny enough, the battery of her car died because we've been listening to music without the motor running. And she, you know, I'm like, thanks, goodbye. And I walk out and I hear her like, and she's like, oh my God. And I thought, because I was angry too, because I was horny. She gave me blue balls. I was literally like for a millisecond thinking about like, should I just run away and leave her there? But then I was like, nah, come on, she's a cool girl. So I stopped the cab driver, helped her to help the motor started, and yeah, that's it. And unfortunately, I had to leave the city, so I never really met her again. We kept texting back and forth a little bit, but that was it. And yeah, so I was lacking this whole giving her space to chase. For the next example, I actually have prepared some infield footage because the camera caught it. This is going to be an excerpt from a set that you can see if you have the Max Hot Seat version of the Natural. You can see the entire set. You see me turning it around. You see everything leading up to this, and let's see what happens here because it's quite funny.
Oh, I don't know how to say.
You have no idea what you're talking about, shit. God. If you get, it's like 5 minutes away from here.
What hotel is that? I don't know.
The Meridian.
Where is it?
It's 5 minutes away from here.
Yeah, but don't get like this. I don't know that place. That's why I prefer to.
It's super close.
Eh?
It's super close.
Now it's important here, just listen to her tonality. Like, where are we going? No, I don't know this place. She sounds very, very genuine, right? This is not token riz. It's like, oh, where are we going? No, she's like, whoa, where are we going? She's like legitimately worried right now. What was wrong? What was failing? Now, the thing is, I had great vibing. You'll see that in the entire set. We had fun. There was buying temperature. I did let her chase. I'm like, I'm not sure about if I should take you home now. You know, you're cool, but are you that cool? All that. All fucking that. I also made it seem very spontaneous. Like, oh my God, baby stepping. Whoa, let's go gamble there. Blah, blah, blah. All that. But she couldn't trust me at this point. She's like, everything is there, but for some reason, I don't trust to wherever I'm going to go with this guy. So I was lacking rapport and connection. And I remember another time, it was actually an instant pull into the cab with the girl. I met her like 5 minutes earlier, chat her up a little bit. I was already done. My friends already left me. I was like roaming through the streets. And she's like, oh, yeah, I gotta go home. This is my cab. And I'm like, oh, what area do you live in? And she's like, oh, that area. I'm like, me too, let's share a cab, yay. And she's like, yeah, okay, cool. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so spontaneous, blah, blah, blah. But upon, like, in front of my house, because I actually made the cab drive to my house, she just wouldn't come with me. Why? If I look back, I had a great rapport. I was immediately like, oh, yeah, I'm here and I'm traveling, blah, blah, blah. I'm opening myself up. She definitely knew who I was. Even it was quite a short time, but she did know who I was. She could trust me. Number two, I did let her chase. I'm like, oh, you know, that's funny. I hope you don't rape me. I'm not sure about you. Da 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 da. I did come from this. Oh my God, this is so spontaneous, so cool. Thanks for being so cool. Let me drive in your cab, or like be part of your cab drive, and all that. But I was lacking the vibing. The girl was just not feeling it. That was just not a good energy. It was a nice conversation, but she was not like cracking up and loving it. For her, there was more value in going home, grabbing a bite to eat, and then going to sleep than hanging out with me, because she didn't see me as that much fun. So I was lacking the vibing phase. And lastly, I want to give another example. This happened in Vegas about a year ago. That was me being so in the zone. I was having one of the high phases. Remember, we talked about that in the dry spells chapter or video. Well, I think at that time I pulled like 6 times in a row. And it was epic. And in different cities too. I pulled in Vegas once, then I flew to New York, had good boot camp there, pulled the first day, pulled second day, pulled third day, came back to Vegas, pulled again or something like that. And then I met her, and it was just, I was literally doing that in my sleep. It was just automatic. I was so in the zone, bam, 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 bam. Pull her home smoothly, nothing happened. And at some point she's like, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? Are you fucking crazy? Like, where are we? Like, how many times have you done this? It's so smooth. You really don't seem like this is something new to you. And I realized, like, yeah, for me it was just so easy. For me it was just something of so part of my everyday life of pulling every day, that the girl freaked out. And then she felt judged. She felt slutty. She felt like just another guy who fell for the really cool guy, right? So she felt bad about herself, and then she abruptly had to leave, right? She's like, no, I can't do this, I gotta go. It went too fast. Why? What was missing? The whole it just happened frame, the spontaneity frame. Because I never mentioned that. I was like, yeah, for me it was like, yeah, no big deal, go for a fucking pull, the rapport thing, hang out, have a good time, listen to my gut feeling, all that. I just didn't acknowledge enough times that this is something new, because it's not for the girl. She doesn't go home with somebody every day like me. So, yeah, and she was hot, and she was beautiful, and I missed it. Now, the thing about those failed pulls, I love them. I love them. Obviously, I love it more when the girl and me have sex and we have a great time for a longer time. But I love them, too, because those things make you learn like crazy. So now I hope you understand the 4 components that should ideally be there for every pull. Now, I want to go a little bit more subtle on this whole pulling and having it make her idea. This is something I call inceptionalizing the mindset. I know not the catchiest phrase, but whatever. Basically, this adheres to basic human nature. Is you give the girl a compliment that infers that she has XYZ mindset, which is a mindset you would ideally want her to have upon coming with you. So the best mindset that I want to exceptionalize by a compliment is something like, oh my God, you're so spontaneous, I love it. I totally like how adventurous you are. The thing is, I don't know if they're actually spontaneous. I don't know them that well. I don't know if to what degree they're adventurous, but I'm giving them that compliment, and that will exceptionalize that character trait within them. Why? Because it's basic human nature, as I said earlier, to not want to disappoint. For example, parents that are pressuring their children very, very harshly into being good at school. They don't necessarily do it like, you gotta go good, get all the A's, you gotta be good at school. No, they say like, oh my God, you're such a smart kid. Everybody loves you because you're so smart. Now the kid's like, okay, I don't want to disappoint. This is where my validation comes in, so now I gotta be good in school. And it's similar to that. You do it on obviously a lot more micro level, not that harsh, not in terms of pressuring or manipulating, but you just conceptualize the mindset into the girl that you want her to have. I love how spontaneous you are. So she subconsciously doesn't want to disappoint. She's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm spontaneous. Everybody wants to be spontaneous. I'm fucking spontaneous. Yeah, I'm the shit. Now, I do want to come with him because I would underline the notion of me being very spontaneous. How does that look like in the field? I have a short clip, 2 clips actually here. Let's see. You're very spontaneous. I like that.
But he still is scared of her. So I'm upset
You're
with him.
you're pretty
He's scared of her.
and spontaneous. I really like that. You're so spontaneous. I like it.
As easy as that. Notice both times I was in the process of pulling. First example, I was at a McDonald's pulling the girl. By the way, you see the whole set in the hot seat version. And the other one was actually said girl from Vegas that I mentioned earlier where the rapport was lacking. You see also the whole set. So I always say that upon pulling, exceptionalizing the mindset. Now another thing that I always do is usually goes along with the first moments of her committing to come with you is I occupy her mind. I hate the way to describe it, but my English is not good to find a more accurate way. It's occupying her mind. It's basically keep chatting, keeping the vibe up. Ideally, I avoid awkward silences upon pulling. Why? Because if there's silence, what's the girl gonna hear? Right? You don't want her to hear that. You don't want her to be in her head and think, oh my God, is it the right thing? Should I do it? No. Keep the vibes up. Keep chatting. Keep having a good time at all costs, because that way the girl is more inclined to come with you and feel none judged. Very easy example of you can say whatever you want. Just keep chatting. Avoid awkward silences. Infield footage. Let's see.
Deli. Elskin. We're all going.
You even see that. This is Julian and me pulling here, and he's just like, deli, Elskling. Doesn't make any sense. We're going to the deli, and Elskling is Swedish for darling. Just any random shit. And hear what I am doing here. Let's repeat it.
Deli. Elskin. We're all going.
That's my pull sound. Okay, feel free to use that. It's just make any sound, something, just occupy.
Julmust.
Julmust is a Swedish drink. Makes zero logical sense, but I'm just throwing random shit. Let's go. Julmust, deli.
What is mat?
That's food.
Mat is food.
Mat is food.
How do you say I'm hungry?
Jag är hungrig.
Jag är hungrig.
Ja,
Ja.
jag är hungrig.
Jag är hungrig.
Yeah, as easy as that. So now we chat about how to say I am hungry in Swedish. Who cares? Keep the conversation rolling upon pulling. Also important is the so-called chick talk, because very likely that the girl is going to do that chick talk at some point in the night. Give her the space. This is usually upon leaving that she needs 1 minute to talk to her friends, or she's texting them, calling them. Now the important thing is here, because I see so many PUA guys not doing that. They're like, fuck, the friends are going to read, pull her away. And it's just pulling, pushing without giving her space. Look, she wants to maintain her social status, and she wants to make sure her friends are okay. It's as easy as that. Accept that. And you see how that plays in, that you need to accept the friends as they are and be cool with them and be nice with them. Remember, we talked more about this in chapter how to deal with friends. So let her have that chick talk, because she's going to go there. She's like, okay, girls, I'm going to go with him now. We're going to have whatever excuse, right? We're going to go have some drinks or whatever the fuck. I'll be okay. Give her that space. Don't push her now. Let's go, because you seem very pushing from her friends, and then they're probably going to intervene. So give her that chick talk. Give her that space to text her friends. In fact, you'll see that in that set that I just showed you too. Encourage her to text her friends. Text your friends. Tell them you'll be back in 20 minutes. Right? And sometimes I give the friends my number and all that just to make everybody feel very, very secure. Warning, this only works if the friends like you. Otherwise, they're like, random fucking guy, fuck that, you're not going to go home with him. So make sure the fucking friends like you. Let's talk about this too. In general, about the friends, they decide whether or not you can go home with your girl or not. We talked about this a lot already. Be extremely lighthearted, extremely diplomatic and nice to them. So you make sure that they're going to be cool once the girl is going to do the chick talk. Many times the chick talk is especially important when it's a 2-on-2 situation. You and your wingman are going to pull 2 girls. They're going to go to the bathroom together at some point. They're going to do the chick talk, like, do you like your guy? I think I want to fuck my guy, maybe. No, let's go party. Do you like them? Stuff like that. Yes, especially if they're good friends, they can be very open about that. Let them do that chick talk. But wait in front of the bathroom. Don't wait there like dogs, but chat with each other, have a good time, and make sure you have an eye on them when they come back. So you can be like, okay, girls, let's go. But give them the space to chick talk. And I mentioned earlier, if you are pulling your friend and the friends like you, give them your number so they feel secure. Let them take a picture of your passport. I do that literally. It's great, and that makes them feel very safe about their friend. More about that in chapter How to Deal with Friends. And another thing that I always do is kind of goes together with the letting her chase notion, is doing that step back before she does. This is something I do all the time because she's going to do that step back. This is especially important with the pulling the trigger moves. For example, you getting into the cab, you exiting the club, you getting into your place or her place. She's going to be very inclined to do that step back before she does. Slut defense, taking the pressure off her. She wants to hear more of the notion of it just happened. So she's going to say things like, but we're not going to have sex tonight. Something like that. Or like, oh, but only if you promise to be nice, right? Like, oh, but you got to behave. She's going to say all that shit. No, you're going to say it before her. Like, hey, actually, let's go outside, catch some fresh air. But, oi, only if you're cool. Only if you're not going to drag me into the corner of some back alley, right? Ha ha ha, do that step back before she does. Hey, let's share a cab, but oi, only if you promise not to rob me. Hey, you know what? I live here. Let's have pizza there, but only if you promise to keep your hands off me. Hey, but we're not going to have sex tonight. I'm on my period, okay? Anything like that. Take that step back, because that does 2 things, and that's very beautiful. Number 1, takes the pressure off her, right? And it cheers further to the notion of it just happened. She's like, oh, we did both say we're not going to have sex. And then it just happened. On the other hand, it hits her ego a little bit, right? She's like, what do you mean keep your hands off me? You don't want to keep the hands off me. I'm going to show this guy that he's supposed to be the one that got to be worried, right? How's she going to show you? By coming with you. Isn't that beautiful? Anything like that. Hey, only if you promise not to creep out my roommates. What does it mean? I'm awesome. I'm a pretty girl. I would never creep anybody out, right? You adhere to her ego a little bit, and she's more inclined to come with you. Again, I really want to emphasize here, it's not like manipulation, so she thinks this and that. No, she's very well aware of that. You just make it socially acceptable for her. You take all the pressure off her. You take all the responsibility on her, and she's going to be massively grateful. She's going to be finally a guy who's alpha, who's awesome, who knows how he's going to fuck me, and he still makes it in such a nice way, in such a gentleman way, so it can happen for me and for him and for everybody, right? Take that responsibility and make it as easy as possible for her. She's going to be very thankful for that. Now let's talk about the third half of the night. Okay, we talked about the first one, warming up, becoming social, getting exchanging numbers with girls. Second half of the night, ideally you commit to a girl and you pull. Now sometimes, oftentimes, whatever, it just doesn't work, right? And you end up in the third half of the night. That is what Jeffrey, I believe, calls the twilight zone. This is, half an hour before / open end, the club's closing. It's mayhem. This is where a lot of action is outside on the streets, especially in summertime where it's warm outside. This is where people are going home and stuff like that, where it's chaos. First rule, before we actually start with the actual rules here, embrace the chaos. It's going to be weird, man. There's going to be drunk people. There's going to be fights. There's going to be cops. There's going to be people walking home and stuff like that. And there's going to be sick situations that are good for you too. Like sometimes there's instant pulls with 10s that are walking out the street. You got to be willing to go with the flow, go with the chaos, and drop logic even more. Like seriously, like the normal game, the natural game, it makes quite a lot of sense compared to the third half of the night game. That's just ridiculous. So embrace the chaos. Furthermore, this is something people love me talking about. Girls are horny and confused in the third half of the night. Now, what do I mean by that? By horny and confused, I basically want to say, look, a hot girl's night looks like this. She's going to meet somebody that's cool. It's inevitable. There's going to be, in the mass of chodes, there's going to be some dude that, even if he is a chode, he has a good night, you know? He's just feeling good. He's able to spike her emotions, hook the girl, you know, in a sexual way. And it's not on a social hook, but also sexual. Buys her drinks, has a good time, dances with her, befriends her friends, da-da-da-da. But what those chodes usually never know what to do is how to pull. So a chode pull usually looks like that. Hang out all night with the girl, make her all horny. The girl's like, yeah, I'm gonna get laid by the cool guy. And then the guy's like, so, do you want to go home to my place now? Right? Again, he serves that, do you want to be a slut or not question to them. And the girl's like, well, I don't want to seem like a slut, so I'm just going to go with no, hoping that he's going to be persistent and going to do it in a socially acceptable way like we just talked about. And then he doesn't know what to do, and then he leaves. He's like, well, okay, let's exchange numbers. He walks home. And now the girls are being left with horniness and confusion. They have their buying temperature spiked up all fucking night. They're ready to get fucked, and all of a sudden the guy's too dumb to fuck them. So they're confused. They're like, why is he so dumb? I thought he's cool. Oh, I guess it's going to be the finger again. So they're going to walk home all sad until they run into you, my friend. So really, buying temperature is high. Remember, buying temperature is transferable. If you know how to deal with that now, you can get laid so quick, so fucking easily from the third half. So here are the 3 things a natural does, ideally, in the third half of the night. Number 1, eliminating creepiness. You still got to be aware, even though the girls are horny. You're outside the street, it's dark, there's all kinds of like rapists and criminals and weirdos and drunk and creepos out there. Usually those are the guys who talk to people outside on the street at 4 a.m. in the morning. You got to make sure that you're not going to be categorized as such. It is in your responsibility. Excuse me, it's just so fucking key. How can you show that you're not a creep, that you're sober, etc.? There's a couple things you can do. First off, eye contact, steady eye contact. Second off, walk normally. Don't stagger around like a drunk guy. No alcohol helps you a lot here. Other than that, speak coherent sentences. Usually try to speak educated in an educated way. You will stand out immediately. Then like, hey girl, sup? Right? Like, oh, excuse me, ladies, I hate to interfere. Boom. Literally that one sentence is already going to do so much work for not looking like a creep, criminal, gangster. That helps a lot. The other thing that I do is no physicality. Third half of the night, the maximum physicality that I do is holding hands. Ideally, I do the elbow move. We'll talk more about it later, but the maximum I do is holding hands. I see that many times where the PUA guys, the girls are walking, they fucking grab them. Dude, that is the worst thing you could ever do. You get pepper sprayed, it looks fucking weird, white nights and all that. Don't grab the girl. Don't freak her out. The only thing you keep her hooked with is your voice and your eye contact. That's it. And after a while, when she already can trust you, then you can take her hand and start leading. But until then, you shut the fuck up. Well, you don't shut the fuck up. you don't fucking do physicality. Okay, this is super fucking key. Another thing, there's verbal things that you could say that make you seem a lot less dangerous or that make you stand out from the dangerous crowd. It's something like, oh yeah, where did you guys party tonight? Were you in that club? Oh yeah, so cool. Yeah, I was actually at my sister's birthday party. Yeah, it's funny how they grew up. I wasn't. Like 364 times of the year, I was not at my sister's birthday party. But it sounds a lot more chill. It sounds like, okay, like a creepy rapist criminal is not gonna go to his little sister's birthday party. You know what I mean? So if you I was at my little sister's birthday party, I was taking care of her a little bit. She turned 21. It's crazy. For me, she would always be the little girl that was afraid of our dog. Right? All of a sudden, boom, instant trustable guy to a great extent at least. So that is eliminate creepiness. The next one is float next to the girl. Okay, that goes together with don't grab her, just float next to her, very low pressure. Walk in front of her with 1 to 2 steps ahead of her. Okay, because if you walk behind her, even if you walk in the same direction, if you walk behind her, even if it's just 1 step, creepy, he's following me. But if you walk 1 to 2 steps ahead of her and casually over chat over her shoulder, you're not even giving them a lot of, how do you say, a lot of body language attention to her. You're just casually chatting over the shoulder. You step 1 to 2 steps ahead of her. All of a sudden, you're not the weird, creepy guy that's following them. No, you're the guy who's walking in his direction, and you just chat them up. Calibrate physically too there as well. If they walk 1 to 2 steps a little to the left because they want to have more distance, give them that distance. Don't walk next to them and fucking creep them out. Again, eliminate creepiness at all fucking cost. So if you walk next to them, you float next to them, if they ask you, like, where are you going? Like, oh yeah, just over there. You can remain vague, like, oh, I'm just walking home over there. And it's going to be so massively easy for you to come with them. The thing about that is, what you got to realize is you got to take the pressure off yourself. I've had students being close to tears in the third half of the night because they're like, oh my God, I just can't open girls on the way home. Now, if you follow that thought pattern, why? Why is it hard for you to speak to the girls in the third half of the night? Why are you freaking out? Well, because deep down inside, you think that you're not able to make their night better. You think you're taking something from them. Like, oh, those poor girls, now I hit on them and ruined their night even more on their way home. You should never come from that mindset. Why do you come from that mindset of, I don't think I can give them any value? Because you're not giving yourself any value. You're in apathy. You're not taking action. You're not striving. You're not becoming a better man. And by that apathy, you think you're not giving value to yourself. And by that, you're not thinking that you could give value to the girls. And then you'll have a very difficult time approaching those girls in the third half of the night. So take action. Be on your journey on natural game, which is where we are right now. That helps in giving value to yourself, and that helps you with the belief of, hey, by me talking to those girls, even the third half of the night, I can make their fucking night. I can be the, not even white knight, I want to be the knight in shiny armor that saves their fucking night. I'm finally the last cool guy that gives them what they need, which is a good time, and yeah, maybe also sex. So float next to the girl. Okay, anything, any chat, it's totally cool. It doesn't matter. It's chaos. Embrace it. And the last one here is baby step yourself. Because I see so many guys freaking out. They're walking home with the girls are accepting them to a great degree already. They're like, okay, that's cool. You can walk home with us. And then they come back. They give up. They're like, but how do I fuck them now? There is no how do I fuck her now. Dude, chill. Don't even think about fucking them yet. Don't even think about having sex with them yet. Baby step yourself. Baby step, okay, I just opened these girls on the way home. I'm going to walk with them for the next block. Cool. I walked the whole block with them. I'm going to walk with them all the way to the cross section. Cool. Now I did that. Oh, okay. Now they're hopping into a cab. Oh, now I'm going to get into the cab with them. Share the cab ride. Now I'm going to get out of the cab with them. I'm baby stepping myself. And I'm out of the cab. For example, they go to their place. Now bringing them to the door. Next baby step, I'm trying to get into the door, right? Or from the cab, I'm trying to get them to my place, have a cool excuse, vibe enough. And then I think about sex. Don't freak out too much. Really, be like, hey, dude, this is cool. Wherever I am right now is already cool. It's sick. It's already closer than I would have ever gotten. When it doesn't work out, it's cool too. Pat yourself on the shoulder. Pat yourself on the shoulder. You are the guy, out of every guy she talked to in the club, you're the guy who got the closest to having sex with her. Isn't that great? That way, you can always maintain that positivity when it comes to the third half of the night, fucking chaos and mayhem. Now, let's talk about when the girl's mentioning sex upon the poll. This could be a quite solid poll from the second half of the night. This could be a mayhem poll for the third half of the night. The girls, many times, like to test you with, you just want to have sex with me. Here's the deal, and we talked about this earlier as well. Don't deny it. Don't be like, oh, I'm just here to have a cool conversation. Oh, sure, bro. That's why you're out there at 4 a.m. in the morning talking to a hot girl in the cocktail dress, right? No, acknowledge it. Don't be apologetic, but don't make it a big deal. Because who's the kind of guy that has to be apologetic about his sexuality? Who is the kind of guy that has to control his libido? The beta male. The beta male is like, oh, I can't just fuck any girl. I can't be cool with my sexuality because then I get kicked out of the tribe, right? The alpha male is like, what do you mean? I just want to have sex with you? Yeah, I guess you're pretty fucking hot. I mean, but look around. We're in XYZ city. There's a lot of hot girls. I also need a little bit of connection. And yeah, that's cool. You know what I did? And then change the topic. You know what I just did? Number one, I acknowledged it. I stand my ground. I'm not becoming apologetic. I'm like, yeah, sex is cool. I mean, well, you don't like sex? You're like an asexual person. Number two, I kind of linked it to some qualification. Right? Oh, yeah, but you're cool, but I also need connection. I'm not sure about you yet, right? Starting to let her chase a little bit. And the third one is that change the topic. It's not a big deal. That is what you usually answer with. And the guy's like, you need to have sex. Or you could do the funny version, the humor version. Oh, don't be vulgar. You said the S word. Or like, oh, I beg your pardon. I'm a virgin, right? You can do that too. It's a general vibe. If you've been joking around a lot, you can say that. But you can also go the alpha male route. Now, let's talk about makeouts because I get that a lot. Do I make out before or after I pull? Take your guess. Now, here's the thing. It depends. It really depends where you are in your journey. Now, obviously, we're a little advanced in our journey here as well, but it still depends on where you see yourself. Now, I would say, if you're a person who has trouble understanding man to woman, who thinks like, okay, the girl is responsive, I think it's going well, I trust that there's going to be sex, but I'm not sure if she's just being polite and I'm in the friend zone, aka social hook point, or if I'm actually in the sexual hook point, I'm not sure yet. Because many times those guys end up pulling and do technically everything correct. And then the girl's like, thanks for bringing me home. And they hop into their house and that's it. And you're like, oh shit, I thought there was going to be sex, right? Yeah, if you have trouble understanding man to woman still, if you can't fully trust your gut feeling, then make out before you pull. Because if you make out, there is some sexual tension for sure between you and the girl. And that way you're like, okay, we've been making out, okay, if I pull now, I'm going to pull, right? And it's going to be, probably going to be sex, right? Now, the cool thing is with that is if you make out with all those girls that you end up pulling or that you try to end up pulling later on, you start seeing the signs that precede the makeout, you know? With more and more makeouts that you get, you're like, I think this girl is actually doing the same kind of, she looks at my lips, she's like getting closer to me. I remember that from the last couple of makeouts. I think the girl wants to be kissed, and all of a sudden you build this more and more recognizable picture of what it looks like if the girl is sexually attracted to you and if there's man to woman going on. Make sense? So make out if you don't know that. Start reading the signs, and by the time you start to read the signs, you know she's ready for the makeout, but you don't do it. And that brings me to the other side of the coin, not making out with her before you pull her, because that has some sort of variety of advantages for you. Number one, there's barely any slut defense. Because if she's making out with you, and then you guys go home and have a drink and everything, it's kind of too obvious for socially conditioned side. Like, but we made out already. Man, of course there's going to be sex. Now I know that there's going to be sex. Too obvious. Now I can't tell myself that it just happened because we already made out. I don't want to be a slut. I don't want to be one of those one-night stand bitches. I'm just going to say no. Right, so you have the slut defense coming up here. Also, the good thing is, if you are physical, if you're dominant, you're having fun, you're basically showing that you're an alpha male, but you don't escalate on her. What happens is, you are in her head. She knows you're an alpha male. She knows you like her. She knows she fucking loves you. But she's like, damn, why is he not kissing me? I give him all the signs, and he's physical, and we have a great connection. Why is he not kissing me? Do I have bad breath? Maybe he doesn't like me. Oh my God, maybe I said something wrong. Oh my God. And you're a little bit in her head. And she's like, fuck. Ah, damn it, I don't know if he wants to fuck me. I don't know. And it's all this like, it's the same when you watch like a good movie where you don't know how it's going to end. Like, I want to know what's the end. I keep watching, right? Or a good cliffhanger on a TV show. Make her wonder how it's going to end. She will love you for that excitement. Again, it also kind of feeds into her ego a little bit. Like, why is he not making out with me? I'm going to show him that he needs to make out with me because I'm super fucking awesome, right? And that's where also the girls start making out with you. The girl says, like, let's go, because she wants that validation. She wants to be sure that you fucking like her. And that's a very great point if you withdraw the makeout from her. But again, only if you really know that to read to signs how it looks like with a man to woman, right? If your gut feeling is developed enough. And again, those are guidelines. Everything I told you here are fucking guidelines. So sometimes I make out with a girl before I pull her, and it's totally cool, and she's still in her head and everything. Those components, the four components, all that, that's an ideal guideline. Don't freak out if you can't do those fully. Natural games. So natural underlying core principles. As easy. Adhere to 1, 3, 2, 3, 4, as many as possible. But if it doesn't work 1% that way, don't freak out. It's beautiful. The game is something very artful. Okay, so don't freak out about that. Now I want to talk a little bit about a very important move here. I mentioned it earlier already. It's the so-called elbow move. The elbow move, it's the easiest way to make the girl be super comfortable to walk with you. It's even more low-key than the taking hands. It's like, oh, I'm a gentleman. I will escort you. Girls love this, like being escorted, especially out the club, especially in the third half of the night where there's chaos in front of the club. And you talk to them and you notice there's a great enough trust so she understands that you're not a creep. Then you can be like, you know what? It's crazy out here. Let's go, right? Like a sir, I'll escort you to the cab. Girls like, yes, he escorted me to the cab. They love it. So the elbow move is so powerful because it's so socially acceptable. It's such a gentleman move, yet it gives you the great opportunity to move her, to lead, right? Let's see just a couple of intro footages of how wonderfully that works.
Complex thing. Because
I do not like this year. It's one person not like this.
Why you like me so much? Come.
I got a drink. Where are we
Come
going?
with me.
Where are we going? I can't get into
That
a
way.
bar.
All right, come.
I can't get into a
Let's go outside. We can go back in and try to gamble. You're my lucky girl.
Oh, that way. Kindle. Woo! Are you one of those woo girls like woo? Be my guest. It's so funny that the cabs are on the other side. Hi there. As easy as that. The elbow move, it's just extremely powerful. It's very, very easy for the girl to comply to that, and yeah, that's it. Now let's talk about the so-called pulling the trigger moves. Those are, remember when we talked about these little compliance steps of like 10% for the girls? Those are a little bigger moves that take a little bit more compliance than the others. That is, for example, exiting the club with her. That is getting into the cab with you. That is getting out of the cab with you. And that is entering her or your apartment. Those are usually like the bigger pulling the trigger moves. Now, this is intrinsically important for you to lead hard here. Okay? If you feel her hesitant getting into the cab, get in the fucking cab. Don't be like, do you want? No, get in the cab. Leave her with that no choice kind of thing. You gotta lead hard here. You gotta take full responsibility for that. And sometimes the girl decides right there to give you a little bit of shit. Like, fuck this guy, fuck you. Like, they sometimes become very confrontational too. Just as this last sort of test, like, okay, I'm about to comply that. I'm about to commit myself as a girl here. I really want to make sure with one last test that this guy is really an alpha male and he's cool. Now, what you got to do here is, it depends on whether or not it's a shit test or a real test. If it is a real test, I'm like, hey, listen, okay, I know, I understand this is a little weird right now. I know it might be a big commitment for you, but don't worry. We're just going to hang out for 10 minutes. If you don't want to come, that's cool, right? That is a real test. Or the more alpha male version, if you feel like it's a shit test, is making her feel the loss of the alpha male. I call this the loss of the alpha male. For example, you get into the cab, and she's like, I'm not going to get in the cab, fuck you. I'm like, okay, good night. And I did that multiple times. Okay, good night. Hop into the cab, and then she's like, okay, I'll come with you for 5 minutes. Or another example is when I'm entering my apartment. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to grab my jacket real quick while taking a walk or something like that. And she's like, no, I'm not going to come in your fucking apartment. What the fuck? Like, make it seem what they just said is totally ridiculous. Because it is. Like, dude, it's just my fucking apartment. It's not some, like, sex slave cave or whatever. It's my, like, what you're doing right now is overreacting. And you do that by showing her the loss of the alpha male. Be like, okay, I'm going to get my jacket and I'll be right back. Go upstairs, get your fucking jacket. The most important thing is what it does now is it basically, number one, it shows your freedom from outcome. She's like, holy fuck, this guy couldn't give less of a fuck about it. He must have so many girls. He must be so cool already. He's so high value. It's just another proof that you're a cool guy, that you're an alpha male. The other thing it does is it all of a sudden there's this loss, this like immediate drop of energy. Because you were the one that had good energy. She probably as well, but you were the one who provided it massively. So all of a sudden, she's standing there in the cab, outside in the cold streets. There's silence. There's no more fun. There's no more touching. No more good time. It's gone. Everything that she's been taking for granted the last hours or minutes with you is fucking gone. And it's much more painful because she's been glimpsing into the paradise again and then poof, door shut. Makes sense? I want to give an example here of a pull I had the other day in Vienna. This is actually from a Lay Report collection. You might have read this Lay Report already. And the basic same gist is happening. I'm pulling the girl, she gives some shit, and then I make her feel the loss of the alpha male. So allow me to read it out. I like quote. A good hour later, it's getting late and I'm slightly drunk again. The girl got me drunk. I see at the pool, watching movies, tell her to finish her drink, only to hear from her, "What? I'm definitely not going anywhere with you. I'm heading home now. You're heading home now. That's it." She sounds so assertive. Wow, okay. I remain chill and really don't care. She also insists on paying. I tell her it's fine. We can at least split the bill. She insists on paying. She pays. Cool. We get our jackets, and outside she wants to head into her direction. I insist on being a gentleman and giving her at least a nice walk through the night, especially now that she paid the drinks. Right? Gentleman elbow move. Reframe. Reframing it here, basically. Always reframe it to your advantage. There's also this notion of what I call, the gentleman escalator here. Same spiel here. I am a gentleman while I'm actually escalating while walking, and she agrees. Of course, we're walking into my direction. We chat. I hold her hand, so now I transition from elbow to hand holding. It feels so good to walk through the night with such a stunning girl. We pass by our place, or my place. I had already seated the pool several times, yet she's absolutely adamant about not coming upstairs. I changed to, I just want to use my bathroom real quick, baby stepping her. And she denies that as well, so I decide to make her feel the loss of the alpha male. I actually go upstairs, use my bathroom, and I'm gone for like 10 minutes, maybe because I can't find my keys anymore. It's funny, but again, within those 10 minutes, the girl is probably like, "Oh my god, I regret it already. It was so cool, it was so much fun. I'm standing there in the cold outside, it fucking sucks." And I come back with my jacket, I'm like, "Oh, hey, yeah, blah, blah, blah." So anyway, and I keep chatting, I bring her on, I take a walk, and then I say again, "Hey, you know what, it's cold, let's go upstairs." And she feels that, oh my god, if I say no now, he's going to be gone. I'm going to lose this cool guy. So okay, I'm coming with me. And with him. And later on, I was leaning against the window at my place. We were hugging. She already starts kissing my neck, and then one thing leads to another, and we have a great time together. Now, enter your place. Okay, so you go into your place now. What to do? Because most of our infield footage ends with getting into the cab. So ideally, always keep the vibes up in the cab. Keep chatting on the way home while you walk. Keep chatting. Keep the energy up. Remember, occupy your mind. Once you're in your place, show her every room, so she feels comfortable. I talked about this in How to Get Laid from Dates as well. Show every room, show her around. Music, super key too. I always have my computer right there in the first room, in the living room. I literally yeah, that's cool. Yeah, welcome, by the way. Pff, music, just to keep the energy up, just to avoid awkward silence, right? Keep the after party frame up. If you have roommates, tell her that you have roommates. Tell her that they're very cool. Oh yeah, my roommate, he's asleep. He's really cool though, by the way. Really don't worry. Funny story, the other day, me and him went out and he got super drunk, or she got super drunk, blah, blah, blah. If your roommates are not there, tell her as well. Oh yeah, my roommates, they're gone for a long time, for 1 week. Again, it's making the girl feel comfortable. She wants to be like, oh, is anybody going to run into us? It's going to be weird. That's why you also show her every room, just so she can feel very comfortable. Also, do that thing that you guys had the excuse about, right? Is it eating something, having a drink? It's funny because many times the girl doesn't even need that, right? Many times, let's go have drinks and prepare 2 drinks. She doesn't even touch it. But now the moment the drink is on the table, we're having drinks. It just happened, right? So help her with that excuse. Help her with that socially acceptable thing, because remember, the number one fear a girl has is being a slut. For a man, in terms of this whole dating, number one fear is I'm not a man enough. I can't fuck girls. I'm too stupid, blah, 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 blah. But for the girl, the number one fear is, am I a slut? Whenever I do, when I walk down the street, when I am in the club, I want to avoid at all costs being a slut, because that would mean my societal kill. I would be dead in terms of society. Society would look down on me. Yeah, that's unfortunately the pressure girls have to deal with, live with. So make it as easy as possible for her. Important, as a side note, don't fully indulge in it. If you like eating, don't start to cook for 2 hours now. Throw in some fucking pizza, eat yogurt and protein shakes, so anything like fruits, anything like that that's fast, so you can start escalating, have a good time with her. It's important. And also re-hammer in the spontaneity frame. Oh, that's so cool. Sorry, it's a little messy. I usually don't expect people when I come home from night, right? Anything like that. Show her that it's not normal for you, that's cool, but it's totally cool, and that you like it. That's a nice, spontaneous evening full of adventure and spontaneity with the girl. Now, what happens if you got to pull to her place? I made a whole video about that. See chapter how to pull not to your place. Again, I don't want to waste your time here. You can see the whole chapter here. And when it comes to the full closing, how to get to the sex, I have a whole sex chapter. So look into that now if you want to know how to deal with that. And obviously, if you didn't pull, which happens, it happens quite a lot, and that's totally cool, make sure to still take your time and break down your night. Talk about this in the How to Learn Fast and Smart chapter. Break down your night. Don't miss the lessons. Make sure you fucking write them down. Now, my friend, that was quite the piece. It is one of the core pieces of the natural. Now you know the underlying natural core principles. You understand the social dynamics, what it looks like, the 3 halves of the night, how to calibrate accordingly, how to pull, how to make it socially acceptable for girls. Now you have the logic mindset of a natural that makes it easy for a girl to comply to sex because they love sex. They love sex just like us. There's also studies that say they love it even more. But now you know all that. Now this is a program for fucking action taking. So don't take all this knowledge for granted. Go out there and implement it by taking action. So here's your call to action, my friend. Go out and go through all 3 halves of the night. This is a big one. Go through all 3 halves of the night. Socialize. Do everything I just told you in the first half of the night. Second half of the night. Try to commit to a girl. Screen for availability and for her logistics. And if that doesn't work, do not despair. You still have the whole beauty and mayhem of the third half of the night. Go through all these motions. Learn, learn, learn. It's fucking epic. Okay? Remember, it is fucking epic. And then report back to me, report back to your natural family in the natural Facebook group. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know how it worked. If it didn't work, why not? I'll be happy to give you feedback. And now, go the fuck out there and take action.